Hello guys, I'm Fizzy and welcome back to another league race in the AOR PC Split 1 League on F1 2016. We're still in Season 12 and this is round 16 out of 21 in Malaysia, with the sun glaring straight in our face as we head out for qualifying. And yeah, it's been a little while, I guess, since my previous onboard video from my league races. I can only apologize for that. It's been so long, in fact, that the season in real time has actually finished already, but obviously I still have 6 videos to get through on my end to finish it properly before we move on to next season, which I also have signed up for. Season 13 sign-ups are open already, so if any of you guys watching this are interested in joining AOR on any of the 3 platforms for Season 13, make sure you head over to sign up. 16th April is the initial deadline for the sign-ups. And of course, if you are on the PC platform, if you are, you know, pretty fast, then maybe I'll see you on the grid for Split 1 next season. But even if you aren't too fast, there are of course several splits with the drivers sorted or placed based roughly on their pace. So even if you are, you know, feel like you're one of the slower drivers, you can still sign up and hopefully get placed with some drivers that you should be close with on pace. And in turn give you some good league racing action, hopefully. But if you aren't planning to sign up, then of course I hope you'll still stick around on my channel for lots of league racing videos, both until the end of this season with the coverage and also into next season as well. Because let's be honest, at least in my opinion, league racing is the only properly enjoyable way to play racing games. But anyway, let's now turn the attention to what's actually happening on the track. And to be honest, while talking about Season 13, I haven't really paid too much attention to my own lap. However, at this stage of the session, pretty early on it must be said, I went provisional P1, provisional pole, with a lap that felt reasonably good. And so then it was a case of just sitting in the garage, hoping for the best, and if only the qualifying session only lasted for 10 minutes, I would have had pole. Unfortunately, Nuka then came along and knocked me down a spot, and unfortunately on my second attempt I could not improve on my time, so in the end I moved all the way down to P7 on the grid, as a lot of the other guys managed to improve on their lap times. I was only 0.4 of a second off though in the end, so P7 is quite a bit off pole in terms of position, but 0.4 isn't actually that far for me anyway. But let's now look at the tyre strategy for the race, because I have to start on my qualifying tyre, of course, the soft tyre. It's set up as a 2-stopper. I don't think a 1-stopper is at all possible when you start on the soft tyre. So 2-stop is what we'll have to go for, as we now wait on the grid for the race to start. I'm still holding 3rd place in the championship, driver championship, coming into this round. Renault also clinging on just about to 2nd in the constructors, despite me being on my own for quite a long time now. My new teammate for this one starting down in 15th position as well. So it's gonna be a tough race, but let's now see what will happen as the lights are out and away we go for the Malaysian Grand Prix in AOR PC Split 1. Relatively okay-ish start off the line here. We've partly moved alongside Nuka, who started on the position ahead, braking a little bit cautiously, but then lifting off to get a try and slot into the gap on the inside. Tigger now on our outside, the dominant championship leader, onto medium compound tyre. And ahead of us we got Marek, and Marco has made contact on the exit of turn 2, getting glued together a little bit, both of them spinning off the circuit, which means that we are up to 4th place. And Nuka now pressuring us into turn 4. We have to go defensive, managing to hit the apex and keep him behind for now. But yeah, pretty hectic start then. Shame for Marek and Marco, of course, and Marco's out of the session already, as I believe Nick B has taken the lead up there. Afro getting all out of shape on the exit of 6. Tirano Tigger going straight up there. Another beautiful start for him despite being on the slower tyres. And Afro, after taking pole, has dropped a couple of positions. We're now skipping on to the end of lap number 1. Nuka still right behind us, pressuring us, and Afro also putting the pressure on Tigger ahead, and Nick B also not very far ahead. At this stage, a little gap forming in the midfield, as you can see on the minimap, but we're not going to be too concerned about that, because what we need to be concerned about is Nuka again pressuring us on the outside, coming into turn 1. It's going to be hard for him to hold it on the outside edge because it's a long way around, but it's definitely possible. I've done it myself in the past, and he has got his car sufficiently ahead for me to have to leave room. Unfortunately though, I went way too deep. I left way more room than I actually wanted to leave there, and that has given Nuka a good run again up the hill into turn 4. He's got his car slightly ahead now into the braking zone. I'm going to try to stick it in there, but oh, he's turned in on us. I'm not sure I had my car sufficiently alongside that to really warrant space. I was a little bit optimistic there, considering he braked later in the first place, but I was kind of hoping that I would be left a little bit more room than I did. So we've dropped the position now to Kalon after having to take a little bit of a trip across the grass. But oh well, we are still in 6th position, still in reasonable position, although non-runner now the next car behind, and we know how fast he can be as well. So we just have to try and keep calm after, you know, that slightly frustrating moment. Try and keep focusing on driving the track properly. So we are trying to follow Kalon through this tricky section, middle section of the track. And I'm coming towards the penultimate corner, which has such a tricky braking zone. You go really wide and kind of brake while you're turning. You have to take a really, really wide entry into the apex. And now we have got a good run on Kalon onto this straight. No DRS yet, of course, but he's going to go defensive into the final corner, and he's braked a lot earlier. Can we go around the outside? We're going to try a little bit too wide again, and Kalon has his car ahead still, but we should have a good run on the exit with a bit of slipstream maybe. He's again going to go defensive now, this time into turn 1 to start the 3rd lap of the race. DRS enabled, but obviously not yet on this straight. We're going to brake later again, this time again running a little bit too deep, too far away from the apex, but we are still on the outside of Kalon, inside for turn 2, and Kalon's still trying to hang on there. Oh, it's going to be very close up the hill. Oh, actually, Kalon's dropped off a little bit. Yeah, he might have gotten a bit too close to us, or maybe I just had a little bit of a slide in the traction zone. And there we go. We have managed to retake 5th position from Kalon, and non-runner managed to slip through on him as well. Oh, and that was surprising. I didn't expect non-runner to be that close out of turn 4, and that's kind of put him on the inside into 5, and he has managed to carry more speed through turn 6 as well. Can we hold it on the inside of 7 and 8? That's going to be a tricky one, because with the inside here you have to carry a lot less speed to avoid understeering, and non-runner has done well enough to get that. So we were briefly back up to 5th, but non-runner dispatching us and moving us down. Now we are on to lap number 5 in the race. Kalon has dropped back a little bit more behind us, and actually the car behind now on the hard tires is Alex Gillen. Those of you who have been following PC Split 1 in the past, before I moved over from the Xbox leagues, will probably be aware of who he is. He is the former 3-time champion of this league, as I now go into the pit lane. And yeah, Alex Gill, not actually a proper part of the league this season, but he wanted to come in and revisit the experience of league racing in this in AOR as a one-off here in Malaysia, and we allowed him to do so, which is cool. I believe he only qualified in P12, but obviously that has allowed him to start on the hard compound tire, maybe go for a one-stopper here, so he could still be in a decent position, as we have also gone now onto the hard tires on our 2nd stint of the race. Kalon still the car behind us, quite a bit of a gap to him now, and we came out in 14th position now up to P12 on lap 11 with the chicane ahead. One of the cars who haven't pitted yet, as we were sliding through the penultimate corner. DRS enabled on chicane now. We're going to carry a lot more speed down the straight into the final corner. Tigger with the fastest lap, which is the least surprising news of the day. Inside line now on chicane. Can we make this one stick? Yes, it looks like we will have more grip through the corner, and also getting DRS as well on the main stretch, which will help us to sort of solidify that position. Now, a couple of laps later, P9, Nuka goes into the pits actually for a 2nd time, quite early on in the race. We are pretty much at the halfway point, just underneath the halfway mark in the race actually. And a few more cars also in the pits, so we're going to go up to 5th position again. But of course, we still have to make a pit stop as well in this race, and going way too deep into turn 1, cutting back to the apex. Now on lap 15, and oh, whoopsie daisy, that's not the right exit of that corner. As we now skip a little bit further on to 16, Alex Gillen again, the car behind us, as we are heading towards our 2nd pit stop. Just like before the first stop, he was catching us, and then again before the 2nd stop now, he is catching us again as we're locking up majorly, but it doesn't really matter because the pit lane entry is wide on that corner anyway. The problem though we have in relation to Gillen is that he doesn't have to stop again, presumably, whereas we do. So he is essentially a pit stop ahead of us at the moment, and we are going to drop a lot of positions again as we come out of the pits, down to 15th even, as Prime Sorcerer and Nuka have just flown past on the straight. And now, what is going on here then? Into the hairpin. Chicane going pretty slowly up the hill. Prime Social lagging past him, and then Chicane, yeah, Chicane must have a problem. He might well have a puncture or something, which has lost him a lot of speed. And now we might go for an overtake on Prime Sorcerer on the outside into turn 1. Going too deep again. I keep going way too deep and I try to overtake people on the outside. Just overestimating my braking abilities, I guess. So we are now in 13th place behind Prime Sorcerer, which isn't really gonna help as he slowed down a lot on the exit of turn 6. So we gotta go for the overtake, or never mind. Okay, we're not gonna go for the overtake because he's just lagged back past ahead of us again. So that's interesting. And now again his car is going slowly out of the final corner to start lap 19, and then again he's lagged ahead of us. Oh god, it's gonna be a problem. And tell you what is also gonna be a problem. The clouds are coming in. And it's getting much darker, and maybe there's some rain on the way, which wouldn't really be ideal. Oh my word, this lag. And yeah, as you can see, this is costing us a lot of time now, and we just constantly have to avoid this McLaren, who then keeps disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and then reappearing and then disappearing and then reappearing. And guess what happens next? It disappears and then it reappears. And after that, oh, now Massachusetts has joined the mix as well, or Massachusetts, as it actually is, because it's French, but it's unusual for me to pronounce things like this. So we are suddenly up to 9th as the rain is now coming down. Prime Sorcerer has been spun off the track by Massachusetts, but never mind, he hasn't, because he's still there. And now I'm not the only one who's getting held up by this lag. A couple of cars not too far ahead as well, and through the hairpin now, Massachusetts trying to get past him, and there's contact, and there's contact. Is that actually Prime Sorcerer now, dropping behind us? Will he reappear ahead? Will he? Will he? Not yet. Okay, I think we might just have actually passed him now, as he's now battling with Marek behind. So that's a shame for Massachusetts, of course. Oh, for fuck. I mean... yeah, 3-second time penalty as well. It's just getting all wrong in the second half of the race. It's just not working out. I mean, we're up to 7th, but Nelly ahead is already on the inters. And I think the reason we gained some position is because some of the other guys have already pitted for wet tires. So we're going to go into the pits now and let's see where we end up, I guess. Marek's going to follow us in. And of course, because the rain has suddenly come down, which I hadn't really expected, it means that we're going to have to make a 3rd pit stop in this race. Whereas all the one-stoppers, of course, will have get an easier time with their tire wear and only have to do 2. So I think for everyone who started on the soft tires in this race, so this rain hasn't really helped, because it just made it easier for the other guys to pull off their less pit stop strategy. So, rejoining the track in P10. We're on for 1 point at the moment, a bit less than I wanted, to be honest, at the start of the race. And Marek right behind us as well, another fast guy who is looking to take away that point from us. And that would be a shame, because I haven't actually finished a race outside the points all season. Of course, I had my Monaco DNF, but in terms of races I've finished, I've always been within the top 10. But now it is tricky conditions, and I've completely lost it through there, just about managing to keep it on the track. Marek's gonna get such a good run now. As a result of that little mistake, he will have a good line through this corner, having to leave us room, of course. Now coming into the penultimate one, I'm gonna try to hang it on the outside, with Marek taking a super tight line. Can we carry enough speed though on the exit? Getting close to that curb, but just about avoiding it, and we are actually pulling back ahead of Marek just about. He's going to grab some slipstream from us now, coming into the final corner. I'm going to defend. There's only 2 laps to go after this one. Braking quite cautiously there on the inside, maybe a little bit too cautiously, but we are still ahead of Marek, who's now on the outside going to try and hang on. Now we're getting a lot of wheel spin, way too much wheel spin in fact, which means that Marek got a much better run out of the corner, and into turn 1 we aren't really close enough to go for a dive there. Marek leaving the door open though, so I'm going to try to stick my nose in there mid-corner, and now heading into turn 2, trying to cut underneath for a better exit potentially, if you can get a good traction appliance here. And we're getting close to Marek. We're forcing him to go defensive up the hill, but he is now in the driving seat of this battle. Gonna try to brake on the outside, holding on, getting so close to his tire, controlling the oversteer again on the exit. And still we are trying desperately to fight back on Marek, who will have a slight advantage now coming into turn 6 because his car is ahead, and we have not really been able to carry as much speed as we wanted on the exit there. tried my best to fight Marek off. Was going to be a little bit wide through 7 and 8, but not enough to really hamper him too much. So we now have a lap and a half to try and find a way back past. Kind of have to hope for Marek to make a similar mistake to what I did earlier to give us an opportunity here. But we are definitely under pressure now if we want to continue our streak of points finishes. And now on the final lap as well, not close enough into turn 1 to make a challenge. So if we want to make the move, we have to do it somewhere else in the lap. Oh, and that's a bit of oversteer again. A bit too heavy on the right foot in some of these traction zones. And now into the hairpin. Tigger has won the race. But for us, it's all about trying to stay close enough to Marek, try and keep the pressure on. Oh, but never mind, that's too close to Marek, and that has just kind of nearly knocked us off the track again. And unfortunately, that has ended our chance, as we're now going through the 2 commentator cars. Actually, that is one of the commentator cars, and Marco, who's continuing to drive after leaving on lap 1. And we, just to rub it in, we have run out of fuel as well before the line. So unfortunately, we have only finished 11th place in the Malaysian Grand Prix after starting from 7th. And to be honest, it just didn't work out. It was looking pretty good in the first part of the race. Could easily have been on course for a solid points finish, but then, you know, the strategy and the laggy McLaren and then the rain coming at a bad time for us ultimately all led to a non-points finish for the first time, bar Monaco, this season. And honestly, if it wasn't for all of that, I think we could have gotten close to top 5 or maybe even gotten top 5, to be honest. My teammate though getting a P6 after starting way down the field, so that's a solid drive for him, and we'll move him up to 18th position in the championship after being last before this round. Obviously he's only done 2 races after coming in, and luckily for us we still have a decent gap down to Marco, because he also didn't score any points today. Nick B though moving up quite a bit, and Nuka as well getting points on us. So this 3rd place position is far from safe as we head into the final 5 races now of the season. And the same definitely goes for Renault in the championship. It's only 13 points down to Williams, who have non-runner of course. Red Bull as well, a bit of danger with Marek and Afro both looking very strong at times. So we'll just have to try and keep doing our best and see what it amounts to in the next week. We have got the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Not really sure what to expect from myself there, to be honest. Haven't driven there yet on this game, so we will see. But in any case, hope you enjoyed today's racing at Malaysia, even though it wasn't the best result in the end. And I hope you'll join me at Japan next time around. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.